Hi there, welcome to Hedera Wyckoff Technical Analysis session. So last week we talked about Hedera basically did a U-turn, and then just over 2 weeks it already retested a key level. And if you have been following, you know this is not something that's unexpected, and we're just waiting for the time to break out. So let's see when and where it would happen. This is the weekly chart. As usual, we cover the high level time frame first because the whales basically work on the longer time frames and make bigger moves. These two candles over there were the ones that I mentioned earlier. After the U-turn, they already challenged the yellow key level of 0.25, 25 cents. And then this week basically moves within the narrow range over here. The yellow dashed line, the support, intermediate support between the orange key level as well as the yellow key level. Let me enlarge it so if you're watching on a mobile phone it will be easier to see. So this is the range that I was talking about that can likely be also the range for the coming few weeks. Reason, you see this blue box over here, this upward channel box. Basically currently it's Hedera is basically being traded within this price range. Excuse me. So here, this is where the breakout time frame or the breakout point I was talking about. By the third week of October, a breakout has to happen. So either there are very good news being released and drag people in, or FOMO in, depending on how you like to say, like basically draw people's focus into this, and break the yellow key level towards the green key level. That was when the LPSY, let's use the term LPSY for the time being, but like if it's climbing it shouldn't be that case. However, to make it simple, what happened back in late July, that was where the peak was, and when this happened and breaks out to the upside, that's where it's going to challenge once again. So that's about 3 months in total that it re-enters this zone. However, this is not the only possible scenario. It can break outside of this upward channel box. That's an even more I'm trying to pick a word. I don't want to say crazy. It's not too crazy because it can happen all the time. It's a course changing direction, let's put it this way. Reason being, this upward channel box over here, this blue box, it started since early April, so it's already almost half a year by the time we get to the mid or late October time. So if I count from this candle back in late March all the way to end of this month, that's already over half a year. So if this course changes, that may mean the end of the distribution cycle. So let's say if the price really falls outside of this upward channel box and eventually comes down to test, or like basically goes through the orange and red key level of 17 cents 50 and 21 cents and go all the way to this white line over here and show us a sign of weakness. What is this white line? If you're new to my sessions, that's the long-term playground zone. The long-term playground zone is a prolonged period of time where the price of Hedera being traded within, and during the last two signs of weaknesses, one in end of March, the other in late June, both tested this support line. So if it really comes down, that's the third time in this year that it's going to test this zone. And if the crypto winter is about to begin again, then it may well go into a very deep accumulation cycle, much like what happened back in 2022 all the way to end of 2024. So that was a very long, almost 2.5 years time of accumulation back then. Hopefully we won't get to that level. If it finds support and accumulate over here to start an accumulation cycle, that's not the worst case scenario. But we know it happened back in 2022 to 2024. It can happen again in late 2025 all the way into 2026 or even 2007. So 2027. So that's still a possibility. So don't get overexcited while I say if this continues to trade within this upward channel box, the chance of getting to an upthrust is higher. That means it's going to land or close somewhere between these two, the light blue key level as well as this blue key level of 33 cents and 38 cents. So once it falls outside of this channel box, another scenario can happen. Either it comes down to the sign of weakness, or if there are enough people buying the dip and make it stay above the red key level, it can once again try another round of upward movement, establishing another upward channel box. But then that's going to require a lot of support, provided the capital hasn't flown to other assets, because the interest rates is going to come down. Actually, it has started to come down. So that's the big picture. Let's go to the daily view. So before covering anything, let's check the Bollinger Band counter squeeze. As of now, there's no squeeze happening. So a squeeze basically means whenever you see this vertical bar, this shade at the back, meaning the purple lines has gone into, both purple lines has gone into the orange lines. So that's when, technically speaking, a squeeze happened. For me, I would consider if one side is inside and the other is close enough, or both are close enough, I would consider that a squeeze has already happened. So we've confirmed there's no squeeze, meaning a big swing isn't likely for the time being. Not that it can't happen, just that it's not likely according to the indicator. So last time when we covered Hedera, we have added these tags with question marks because it was climbing, and I already said that should be a PSY period. But then the buying climax, either it hasn't come yet, or it basically climaxed at this level. That's completely possible. So don't always expect it's going to go somewhere similar to the last climax. So sometimes it's just going to disappoint us. However, this is not the only scenario, because sometimes during the PSY period there will be interim fluctuations, much like what happened back in mid-July. So what's happening here, while it can be a buying climax plus a second test and automatic reaction that happened on the 13th, the 15th, and eventually the 19th today. So while this can be a possible scenario that can still be the intermediate fluctuation of a PSY before it really actually gets to the buying climax. So you see this range, right? The narrow trading range. It can do this for another 2 weeks or even 3 weeks before we get to this ascending triangle. I'm not sure whether you have seen my other session talking about don't always follow the textbook theory, because according to candlestick pattern analysis, an ascending triangle means the price will eventually break to the upside. So it's a bullish sign for this, but a lot of times you will find in different charts that isn't always the case. So while it can give us a little bit of indication, don't use it solely because it's not 100% foolproof. So here, back to this point, if it continues to trade sideways, that's not something surprising. And then if it continues to stay within here, within the upward channel box, eventually it will go challenge the green key level of 29 cents and potentially even the 33 cents. But that requires very positive sentiments towards the blockchain or crypto environment across the board. Right now we see a bit of fluctuation. So sometimes certain coins, altcoins especially, rise by 20, 10, like 15, 20% or even 30. But the other altcoins were actually declining in price. So be careful, there is some kind of operation going on by the whales or the composite man in terms of Wyckoff terminology, that they are moving their money around. So that's why you see these kind of behavior. So to sum up, while we expect more horizontal actions to happen, the breakout time is getting closer and closer. So in about a month's time, this has to happen. But as always, it is going to happen earlier than that point. There are very few occasions where the price gets to the very tip of a cross section or the junction of two lines without breaking out like a week or two earlier. And this is the case for Hedera. So give it a little bit of patience. Hopefully it has its final climb towards the upthrust and everybody's